What's going on, guys? We are talking episode 9 of She-Hulk coming up on Disney Plus this Wednesday night, Thursday morning. It's the finale, and everything has led up to this. Now, last episode, my predictions for the Daredevil episode were pretty spot on. I had 4 out of the 6 because, I'm not going to really count the leapfrog one because I went 50-50. It could have been either episode. However, there's some stuff in some of the trailers. We've pretty much caught up with everything that's come out in the teasers. And there's been one trailer that's come out that has one scene in it that we have not seen yet. And everything has kind of led up to this, but this is more really of a whodunit. So a lot of my predictions I am 100% on because it's kind of inevitable. But we will talk about maybe the who it could be when it comes to the Hulk King, because I think that's going to be the big reveal. And whatever happens from there is really going to set the tone for what happens after this show, in setting up future plans for where Bruce Banner is, where the Hulk pops up, where Jen Walters pops up, all of those different things. And I think it's going to have some bigger implications to the MCU with regard to the Thunderbolts and things like that. Having said that, I say all that because the Easter eggs have led to this. All the different threads, all the things that I've told you to look for. Who the Hulk King is, what they've been doing, the Wrecking Crew, the blood, the people that Jen has dated, the wedding episode, all the different things that didn't seem like they fit. The people that were stabbing her in the back, Luke Jacobson and the costumes and all these different things, they're all leading to this. I think that the writing is really going to pay off because I told you I've been a big fan of the writing this whole series and they've done really well with everything else. And this is leading to Jen having to reconcile her two lives into one. Now, whether she gets that resolution or not is anybody's guess. Wrapping it up into a nice clean bow is a possibility, but I don't think that that's necessarily going to happen. I do think she's going to have to come face to face with it. And at the end of episode 8, the incident at the gala, which I think is where we're gonna pick back up, is right where we left off, is really going to be the moment where Jen realized that she didn't necessarily have her anger as in check as she thought she did, because since she has this power, her anger, which was normally be a 6 or a 7, can now go to an 11. And she has the ability not just to have a temper tantrum and throw a glass and scream and yell, but she has the ability to literally bring down walls. And so those things are going to really catch up with her. What that means and where she has to go, I could see it being something funny like, we're going to issue you, anger management courses, and that's how she ends up back with Blonsky, because we've seen a scene where he is dressed up as Abomination. But that's anybody's guess. However, the writing has been so good, I think it's going to feel very natural. But I think when we pick up where we leave off here, I think we get a Hulk King reveal pretty quick in this episode. I think when Jen gets in a bad situation, the fact that she turned and was looking at somebody at the end of episode 8 as she's surrounded by the Department of Damage Control, I think seemed to indicate there's somebody there, either her family that is looking on and she realizes what she's done, she's hurt somebody, or somebody that she views as a threat, presumably, oh, that's the Hulk King, is going to be revealed here. And that's going to set up the rest of the episode, is trying to figure out how to deal with that. But she's going to have to deal with that from within the consequences of her own actions at the gala. And so how that plays out is anybody's guess, but I think these things are going to happen pretty quick. That's my guess, to build the rest of the episode, because they got a lot of things they got to wrap up at the end. Having said that, the one scene we got in the new teaser trailer was a quick shot of a fight between Abomination and Hulk. So Hulk comes back from wherever he's been, unless this was just a misdirection, and an Abomination has to fight him. Now, my guess is, because I don't think Blonsky wants to fight him. I think Blonsky is done doing that. Unless Blonsky sees Hulk and snaps, my guess is that Blonsky wasn't supposed to turn into Abomination, and instead of being able to send Jen to take care of him, somebody sends Hulk to go and bring Abomination back to jail because he violated his parole. Maybe that's the case. That seems like a really easy answer to me. But there's going to be a fight there, and why it happens, I think, is going to be more important than who wins it. Blonsky could end up back in jail for a little bit. I think it would be a fitting place for it to start back over, because it would give Contessa Valentina an opportunity to go and get him out of jail and put him in the Thunderbolts. And it would make a good place for the movie, rather than them having to say, would you please come and help us out? And he could just say no, because he's been paroled. I think something happens and he's back where he started. Another scene in that same area that we got early on is Titania busting through the wall of the exact same scene. Now, is Titania there for She-Hulk? Because She-Hulk is there for some kind of anger management, or is Titania there because she's somehow involved with Hulk King? I think we're going to get a lot of those answers, because the one answer that I really want is, why did Titania bust into the courtroom in episode 1 that caused Jen to even show herself to begin with? If it was just to get Jen to show herself so that people could see that she was She-Hulk, and it's been a misdirection and a play for her power the whole time, so be it. But they need to answer that, because they haven't. Everything else has been pretty good, been on the level. But this battle is going to happen here, because it hasn't happened full-fledged yet. And I think who has Jin's blood and what have they done with it is going to pop up. Maybe it's in Titania, maybe it's in whoever the Hulk King is. But I think this stuff is going to happen in this episode, because I think that's a big deal, even if they don't resolve it and it leads into something like World War Hulk. The side stories, you're going to have some side stories wrap up, in particular with whether or not Jin is still going to be retained by GLK&H. Is she still going to be part of that law firm, or are they going to drop her because she's too much of a liability now? I'm not quite sure. Her having to go on her own and do her own thing would certainly free her up to not be constrained by other people's expectations, which I think fits pretty well with the storyline of female empowerment that they're making sure that they tell here. And so I think you're going to get that, which would also include some wrap up with Pug and Nikki and some of those characters. So I think some of that's going to happen as far as wrap ups are concerned. In terms of the wrap ups, I always say this, but I didn't include it as one of my predictions. Temper your expectations, guys. A lot of people already dislike this show, but if you've stuck with it this long, you're a loyal, diehard MCU fan, and maybe you just want to see how the story ends. Temper your expectations. This story has a lot of standalone episodes. It has a lot of elements that are just lighthearted and fun. This episode does have the potential to get a little more serious, and I think it's going to end up being one of the better episodes. But if it doesn't end where you think it should end, understand that this is just the beginning of a story for a character that's going to be around for a lot longer time. Tatiana Maslany is not a throwaway character, a throwaway actress. She's a very talented actress, and she's been around for a while, and they picked somebody that could handle this character and handle being a part of this environment and this universe for a long time to come. So where she pops up and what she does from here on out is going to be part of this story, and this is just a little piece. So temper your expectations, just enjoy what they give you, and then we'll talk about it after the fact. So there's already going to be people that are going to hate it no matter what, because they hated it from the get-go. Okay, fine, stop watching. But if you're still here for it, just enjoy what they give you. Having said that, the last after credit scene we got was at the end of episode 4. Everything else has been tacked into the episode. Stay for after the credits. I think this after credit scene has a chance to be pretty big, pretty telling for whatever they're going to set up. Where does Jin go after GLK&H, if that's part of the story? Who has Jin's blood, and what are they going to do with it? Does Contessa Valentina show up with Jin's blood? And that's how we end up getting a Red Hulk later on. They teased it as an Easter egg thing in the last episode. Is there going to be some kind of mutant tease? I doubt it, but who ends up having Jin's blood could be that tease if it doesn't pop up here. I think it's going to pop up somewhere, but stay for those after credit scenes, because there's going to be one. I think it's going to be really important. If there's not, I have clearly not tempered my expectations. I'm going to be very upset. I love me some stingers, some after credit scenes, and I think there's going to be one. Tell me what you guys think. I've enjoyed the show so far. Not one of my favorite series in terms of pacing and character and those kind of things, but not poorly written and not poorly executed, and it was fun. There were some episodes that had some rewatchability. I'm a huge Daredevil fan, so you know that's one of those episodes I'm going to rewatch, and it did some really cool things with regard to some characters that move the MCU forward, even if you don't want to admit it. So tell us what you guys think. Like, subscribe to the channel, share this thing all across the multiverse. Check out some of our other videos. We got tons of things you can sink your teeth into, reviews and Easter egg videos and all kinds of things. And as always, guys, when the next one drops, we'll catch you right back here. Later.